Hello everyone, welcome to Simplilearn's YouTube channel. The API or Application Programming Interface is one of the biggest technological advancements. Java's Application Programming Interface is a predefined software tool that easily enables interactivity between multiple applications. So this particular tutorial will be all about Java APIs. So before getting started, I would like to let you know that we have daily updates on multiple technologies. So if you are a tech geek, then consider getting subscribed to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss an update from our end. So without further ado, let's begin with the agenda for today's discussion. At first, we will understand what exactly is a Java API and where did it originated from. Followed by that, we will understand the need for Java's API, who exactly uses it and for what purpose. Next, we have the types of Java APIs. Followed by that, we'll understand the data and API services provided, then the API service protocols. Followed by that, we have the most commonly used APIs list. And finally, we'll wind up the session by understanding the advantages of Java APIs. So I hope I made myself clear with the agenda. Now let's begin with the first topic. So before we begin with what exactly is a Java API, we will understand what Java is. So basically, Java consists of two major components that are Java Runtime Environment and Java Development Kit. So when we get into Java's API, we might want to dig a little deep into Java's Development Kit. So JDK consists of three more major components that are the Java's compiler, Java Virtual Machine, and APIs. Now we will learn each one of them in a bit more detailed way. So at first we have the Java's compiler. So Java compiler can be defined as a software program that is designed to convert the high level, that is the user return or user readable code, into the computer readable code, that is the machine level or byte code. So this particular byte code will be transferred to the next state where we find the JVM. So what is JVM? So JVM is an abbreviation for Java's Virtual Machine. So Java's Virtual Machine is responsible for processing all the byte codes and providing an output to the user. Next, we find our topic for today's discussion, that is the Java API. So just like Java's virtual machine and compiler, Java's APIs are the integral software packages that come with the JDK. The primary intention of API is to establish communications between different applications. So on my screen, you can see a pictorial representation of Java API's architecture. So at first, we have the Java's program on the topmost layer. So this particular segment will be having the user return program in user language. Followed by that, we have the interpreter, Java's API, and the Java's virtual machine, which are responsible for reading and compiling the Java's program. So at the last final level, we have the application hardware, which is responsible for interacting to the Java's program. So this is how the Java API's architecture looks like. Now followed by this, let's dive into the next topic. So in the next topic, we find the types of developers using various types of APIs for different jobs. So at first we have the open developers, next we have the internal developers, and at last we have the partner developers. Don't worry, we will understand each of these developers in a bit more detail and along with some examples for a better understanding. So at first we have the open developers. So open developers are used by top-end companies. So leading companies provide access to their APIs as open source through authentication via a unique secret key to keep track and ensure the legal usage. So basically what happens here is there might be some big companies like social media companies or some more other companies which provide the API they use for their applications as open source to the developers. So these open developers get access to their APIs through getting authentication. So they'll be creating a profile, they'll be providing the research details of their application, like what are they using that particular API for and other reasons to use those APIs. Then they get the unique secret key from the owner of that API. And that's done just to keep track that the API provided is not misused. So the open developers majorly include the B2C teams, and some of the major companies that provide the APIs for open developers are Twitter and Telnix. So one best example is the Twitter, where the Twitter provides Twitter API for the Twitter developer accounts for using that for any kind of developing things or some data science applications and much more. So followed by the open developers, next we have the internal developers. So you can consider internal developers as an organization. So the internal developers belong to a specific organization and work in a closed environment. These APIs run with a high security that can establish communication between the application and the application hardware. So only the internal developers, that is the developers belonging to that particular organization, have the access to that particular API. So this particular type of APIs run on a high security level. So internal developers majorly include B2C teams, B2B teams, A2A teams, and B2E teams. So some of the major companies that provide the internal APIs are Instagram, Google Mail, and Google Cloud Virtual Machines. Next we have the partner APIs. So the partner developers are similar or like internal developers, but the only difference is there is a collaboration between two or multiple companies. For example, consider yourself to be linked with a different company and you both wanted to create an application. So only you both can have access to that particular API that you're using to create your application. So partner developers majorly use the B2C teams, and the major companies providing the partner APIs are Microsoft and Finextra. So with this, we finished the first topic, that was what is API and who exactly uses it and for what purposes. Now we dive into the next segment where we learn the need for Java APIs. So why exactly we need Java APIs? Now Java APIs are used for multiple reasons. But the three most important reasons for which we use Java APIs are to streamline the operations, improvise the businesses, and finally create some powerful applications. We will discuss each one of them in a bit more detail. So the first one is to streamline operating procedures. We have multiple social media applications like Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, etc. Followed by that, we have multiple delivery applications such as Amazon, Flipkart. Then we have the F&B such as Zomato, Swiggy, etc. So all these applications are running smooth and hassle-free because of the significant improvement in the implementation of Java APIs. By using Java's APIs, users are provided with multiple options on the screen. So this kind of approach makes the functionality very simple and easy to use. Followed by this, the next important requirement is to improvise the business. Introducing APIs to the public leads many companies to release private data to generate new ideas, fixing existing bugs, and receive new ways to improvise operations. The Twitter developer account is an example for API that gives programmers private API keys to access Twitter data and develop applications. Followed by that, we have the third one, which is to create the powerful applications. Online banking has changed the industry forever, and APIs offer the customer's ability to manage their finances digitally with complete simplicity. So this is made possible only by the use of APIs. Now followed by this, we will dive into the next topic where we understand the types of Java APIs. So basically there are 4 different types of APIs in Java. They are public, private, partner, and composite. We will discuss each one of these APIs in a bit more detail. At first, we will deal with the public API. So what are public APIs? Public means open. So public or open APIs are Java's APIs that come with the JDK, and they do not have any strict restrictions about how developers use them. So followed by the public APIs, we have the private APIs. So the private or internal APIs are developed for a specific organization. These particular APIs will be accessible through the authentication by only the employees belonging to that particular organization. So followed by private APIs, we have the partner APIs. So similar to private APIs, even partner APIs are having some authentication process to use. So the only difference is here, instead of one organization, we might have 2 or multiple organizations, and the employees belonging to that particular group of organizations will be able to access the APIs and implement them or use them. Followed by partner APIs, we have the last one, which is the composite API. Composite APIs are microservices and developers build them by combining several service APIs. Now that we have covered the different types of APIs, let us now discuss the categorization of Java APIs based on the services that different varieties of APIs in Java provide. So data and API services are another way to categorize Java APIs other than the previous type, which is the public, private, partner, and composite. APIs are also classified based on their data manipulation capabilities and the variety of services they offer. So this type of categorization has 4 different types, which are the internal API services, external API services, CRUD operations, and user interface services. We will understand each one of them in a bit more detail. At first, we will understand internal API services. Internal API services are developed to offer organizations services specific to that particular organizations. These services include only complex data operations and internal processes. Followed by internal API, we have the external API. External API are open source APIs that developers integrate into existing application or website. So internal APIs are something similar to private APIs and external APIs are something similar to public APIs. Next we have the CRUD operations. So CRUD APIs provide data manipulation operations over various data storage units such as software and service, that is SaaS, and relational database management systems such as RDBMS using standard data storage unit connecting tools like database connectivity, that is JDBC, etc. Next we have the user interface services. User interface service APIs are open source APIs that allow developers to build user interfaces for mobile devices, computers, and electronics. Now let's examine the rules and protocols that Java APIs must follow. So that brings us to API service protocols. The rules and protocols guide the different functionalities of Java APIs. So different APIs have different service protocols. Let's consider an example for RESTful API service protocol as an example. So for a typical RESTful API, developers must follow the following rules. For a typical RESTful API, developers must follow these rules: stateless, uniform interface, client server, cache, layer. No worries, we will discuss each one of these protocols in detail. First, we will discuss stateless. So what exactly is stateless? So since the RESTful API follows a client-server architecture by default, it is recommended that RESTful API services to be stateless all the time. Next we have the uniform interface. The entities in a RESTful API are server and clients. Applications that run on global scale need uniform client and server interface through Hypertext Transfer Protocol or HTTP, and Uniform Resource Identifiers URI will allocate the required resources. Next we have the client server. The client-server model used in the RESTful API should be fault-tolerant. Both the client and server are expected to operate independently. The changes made at the client end should not affect the server, and vice versa. Next we have the cache. Including a cache memory allows the application to record intermediate responses and run faster in real time. A RESTful API also includes the cache memory. And next we have the layer. A RESTful API is built using layers. Layers of API are loosely coupled or independent from each other. Each layer contributes a different level of hierarchy and also supports encapsulation. Next, we will go through some frequently used APIs. So this is the list of most frequently used APIs in real time. So we have Web API, Facebook 4J, Twitter 4J, Android API, Java Advanced Imaging, Java Data Objects, and you can also see the acronyms for them in the right column. So some of them have no acronyms and some of them have acronyms. For example, we have Android API as Google, Java Advanced Imaging as JAI, Data Objects as JDO, etc. So moving into the next slide, we have a few more APIs. So we have RESTful APIs, Java Media Frameworks, Java Persistent APIs, Java Speech API, Java 3D, Java USB for Windows, etc. And similarly on the right column we have their acronyms. So for Java Media Frameworks we have JMF, for RESTful APIs we have nothing. And Java 3D we have J3D, Java Speech API as JS API, and few others. So followed by this we will advance into the next topic where we will discuss about the advantages of using Java's APIs. Now, using Java's APIs will help you with multiple advantages. Now we will discuss the most important advantages of using Java's APIs. So the first one, we have the extensive SQL support. APIs in Java enable a wide range of SQL support services in users' applications through a component-based interface. Next, we have applications. APIs in Java provide effortless access to all of an application's major software components and easily deliver services. Next, we have efficiency. Java's APIs are highly efficient because they enable rapid application development. Also, the data that the application generates is always available online. Next, we have the automation. API allows computers to automatically upload, download, update, and delete data automatically without human interaction. Followed by that, we have integration. Java APIs can integrate to any application and website and provide a fluidic experience with dynamic data delivery. Followed by that, we have scope. Java's APIs make websites, application, and information available to a wide range of users and audience. Followed by that, we have customization. Java APIs enable developers and businesses to build applications that personalize user interface and data. And finally, we have the adaptability. Java APIs are highly flexible and adaptable because they can easily accept feature updates and change to frameworks and operating systems. So with this, we have come to an end of this particular tutorial based on APIs in Java. If you have any queries regarding this tutorial, then please feel free to write them down in the comment section below, and we will have your questions answered from our experts as early as possible. This is Ravi signing off. Until next time, thank you.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.